we've got another package. And inside of here is something I'm actually pretty excited about. So for the past month and a half or so, maybe even longer, I've been looking around on eBay trying to find another iPhone lot to buy. Something that would be both a good deal and make sense for me to actually purchase and resell, and also something that would be entertaining for you guys to watch me fix, because I know you guys enjoy these lot videos. After a lot of searching, I ended up coming across this lot of 5 newer iPhones, containing an iPhone XS Max, 11, 11 Pro Max, 12, and an iPhone 13. All these devices are cracked on both the front and back. The seller included the IMEI numbers of every single device. As you can see, the SIM card trays were shown. And after checking the IMEI numbers, every device except for the iPhone XS Max was Find My iPhone off, meaning that all of these can be repaired, unfortunately just leaving the XS Max for parts. And that is my plan. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this box full of iPhones open so I can go ahead and take a look at what I've got. Now, I do not know anything other than the specs of the phones. I don't know if they work. From what I know, they are completely untested from the seller. I really just took a gamble on it because most of the devices were unlocked. All right, let's go ahead and remove the newspaper and pull out a nice big bubble wrapped chunk of iPhones. Go ahead and pull the one piece of tape holding it all together. I can go ahead and unwrap. First of all, we get the iPhone 13. As you can see, this device has a shattered display with a broken OLED. The back glass is completely shattered and the frame is pretty badly beat up. Even the 5G antenna seems to be cracked. I didn't notice that before, but that's funny. Next is the iPhone XS Max. As you can see, the back glass is popping out on this one. The screen is shattered, but it's not as bad as some of the other devices in this lot. Overall, the phone looks pretty good. It doesn't look like it's been through hell and back. It looks like it's just had a bit of a rough life. I'm curious to see if this phone actually works or not. Next up, we have a black iPhone 12. You can see the screen on this one is very badly scratched and appears to have a few cracks down at the bottom. Back of this iPhone 12 is cracked and is also very badly scratched as well. The sides of the device have nicks and marks all over, but unlike the iPhone 13, the 5G antenna is not cracked. Next is a red iPhone 11. This one has a completely shattered back glass and a completely obliterated front display. The bottom back camera on this device, which I believe is the main camera, does appear to have some liquid damage. So when fixing this device, I'll definitely need to get an entire donor phone. I think this is gonna need a lot of parts. I'm hoping that this device is not water damaged, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. And last but not least, if there's one that I'm worried about water damage with, it is definitely this one. This is an iPhone 11 Pro Max that already got glass in my finger. This device, as you can see, has been through quite a lot. The frame is completely snapped. The screen is obliterated. The back is obliterated. And the phone is starting to fall apart. The charging port and speakers are completely clogged up with who knows what, and there's all sorts of gunk all over the back. This one is definitely going to be one of the most difficult repairs, but it's definitely something that I'm willing to take the risk on. Now, I'm curious as to whether any of these devices have a charge as of right now. I know the displays are quite badly broken on a lot of them, but I'll just see. Neither show signs of power. The iPhone 11, I really don't expect anything at all from this device. Of course, shows no signs of life. And both the iPhone 11 Pro Max and XS Max both also show no signs of life when holding the power button. So I'm now gonna go ahead and off camera, see which ones of these phones actually show power when connected to a charger. And whichever ones do, I'll leave them on the charger to charge up for a little bit. And then I'll come back with an update.
Many minutes later.
All right, it has been about an hour, and after some basic testing of all these devices, I actually have some pretty good news. Starting off with the iPhone 13, this device has a completely cooked screen. The screen does not light up whatsoever, but after sitting on the charger for a little while, this phone has charged up. I can hear it make the charging sound when I plug it in, as you can hear. And flipping the vibrate switch does make the phone vibrate. So I know that to test this phone, all it's gonna need is most likely a new display. Now, I have not yet purchased parts to repair this iPhone 13. I have bought the parts to fix the iPhone 12, but since I'd love to test this phone before I actually buy all the new parts for it, I do have a test iPhone 13 display laying around on an old frame. This display is shattered, but it works perfectly fine. So in a few minutes, I'll get this iPhone 13 opened up and get this test screen put on so I can see what's going on with this iPhone. Next up, the black iPhone 12 has also charged up. This device had a clogged up charging port. I could not get a charger to fit down in there until I cleaned it out. There was a lot of dust and lint, and after cleaning, the phone charged up to the setup screen of iOS 17. Now remember, everything except for the iPhone XS Max is Find My iPhone off. This iPhone 12 can just be set up, and that 13 with a new display should be able to be set up as well. I'll set this phone up in just a minute. The iPhone XS Max, however, seemed at first to have a charging issue. The device would not stay in the charging state when connected to a charger. I put it on a wireless charger for a little while, and the phone did end up turning on. This is the only device that is Find My iPhone on. I was expecting the device to be locked, but the phone turned on to an open menu installation of iOS 16.1.1. The language was set to Spanish, but I changed it to English. Has a battery health of 78%. It's a 64 gigabyte model with no SIM restrictions, but is unfortunately Find My iPhone on. I'll see if there's any way that I can get this device unlocked, but if not, unfortunately, it will just have to stay for parts. But it is cool that this device ended up being at least partially usable. I was expecting it to be just completely locked, and this does give me a bit of hope for getting it possibly unlocked. Next up, the iPhone 11 Pro Max. This device unfortunately showed no signs of life whatsoever. I assume the battery's most likely broken or the charging port's broken, as I did have to clean a lot of gunk out of it. I'm gonna try to get my hands on parts for this device as soon as possible, but the restoration of this 11 Pro Max and iPhone 11 will most likely be for another video, as I don't have all the resources right now. Speaking of the iPhone 11, this device does show signs of life, which is good. It does light up on a charger, but it seems to be boot looping. Unplugging the charger, the light goes away immediately, so it's most likely a completely dead battery. So what's next? These two are going to be saved for another YouTube video, which will be coming shortly after this one. The iPhone XS Max, I'll put to the side for now, as I'll look into seeing if I can get it unlocked, but the most likely case is that I probably can't. The iPhone 12, I'll go ahead and get set up real quick so I can take a look at what's going on with it. And after that, I'll get a test screen put on the iPhone 13. We'll give the iPhone just a moment to activate. It seems like the screen does have a bit of a touch issue. Typing in keys on the keyboard that are really close to this edge of the screen is really difficult, and took me a lot of tries to tap on the P key, for example. Of course, this iPhone activated just fine. And let me see if Face ID is working. Face ID seems to be working perfectly fine, which is a really good sign. I just want to get this phone set up real quick so I can check out everything that's going on with it. And now we can get started. And now we're at the home screen of iOS 17. Navigating to Settings, General, and About, you can see that this is an iPhone 12 64 gigabyte running iOS 17.4.1 and also has no SIM restrictions. Every device that is iCloud unlocked in this lot is also carrier unlocked, which was a nice surprise. So it's good to see that we have at least one fully working phone already. This iPhone 12 is going to need a new display and a new housing to be in tip-top shape. The parts for this device are already on the way, so whenever they arrive, I'll go ahead and get this device repaired. Now I'm gonna go ahead and open up this iPhone 13 and get this completely broken display off and connect up a working test display so I can see what's going on with this device. With a new display on the iPhone 13, the device boots up to a lock screen of iOS 17, unfortunately with a passcode that happens to be letters, so there's just no chance of me guessing this. But because this iPhone 13 is Find My iPhone off, I can simply connect this up to my computer and restore it to the newest iOS version, and the device will be usable again. I'll go ahead and get this phone properly put back together, and then I'll go ahead and get it restored using my computer so that the phone's at least usable again and not just stuck on the lock screen with a code that there's no chance of guessing. All right, right, so now that this iPhone 13 has been restored by my computer, I can go ahead and set the device up and test it out. So I'll just go ahead and skip through the setup menu. And this iPhone 13 should activate with no issue, just like the iPhone 12, as this device is Find My iPhone off. We'll continue. And it looks like this is something I completely overlooked, but this iPhone 13 is managed by an MDM company. It is prompting a company login with a Microsoft account. I'm really glad that I haven't bought the parts to fix this iPhone 13 yet, because I need to rethink what I'm going to do with it, as this is something I did not check for when I first bought these iPhones. The mobile device management is an easy bypass, but unfortunately does significantly lower the value of the device. I can bypass this and then sell it, and the phone can still be used normally, but it cannot be reset, and I'm not sure about software updates.
2 days later.
All right, so it has now been 2 days. After thinking about it, it makes the most sense for me to not purchase parts for this iPhone 13 with the MDM lock and just sell it as a parts or locked/discounted device as is without putting the work in. Although I would really love to have been able to fix this phone, I had plans to restore this to brand new condition, but unfortunately it just doesn't make sense financially for me to do so. So this iPhone 13 will likely just be listed on my eBay account as is. Anyways, in the meantime, this black iPhone 12 still needs to be repaired, as the screen and back are still heavily scratched and slightly cracked up. Thankfully, just yesterday, I had a package come in with a nearly mint condition black iPhone 12 that I managed to score for only about 60 bucks. You can see there's very minimal marks whatsoever on the screen. A lot of what you just saw was dust, and aside from some fingerprints, the back is nearly mint. There's a little chip on the frame, but for $60, I'm really not complaining. Anyways, without further ado, it's time to give this black iPhone 12 a new life using the parts from this donor device. And now, a few hours later, this iPhone 12 is now in very, very nice condition, much, much nicer than the condition it was in before. Now with this iPhone in tip-top shape and fully functional, this iPhone 12 can now have a new life. Now, I ended up leaving the original battery that was in the locked phone that I bought because I checked the battery health before the repair, and the battery health was 100% compared to the battery that was already in the phone, which was at 80%. It made more sense to leave the new one. It complains about not having an original battery, but if I were to update the phone to iOS 26, I should be able to pair the new battery to the phone and get rid of the message, along with the message for the display as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and update this device and also finish putting the parts iPhone 12 back together. And then I'll come back to see if I can get these parts paired to the motherboard.
1 week later.
All right, it's been a few days, but I'm now back with this iPhone 12. The device has now been updated to the newest version of iOS 18, at the time being 18.7.2. Apple requires the latest installed version of iOS in order to actually complete parts pairing. It could be the latest version of 18, which is 18.7.2, or the newest version of 26, but I went with 18, as iOS 18 just seems to run better than 26 on the phones like the 12 or 11. Anyways, under settings and parts and service history, we now have the option to restart and finish repair for the display and battery in this iPhone. So without further ado, we'll go ahead, wait for the device to restart, and we should be able to pair up these new parts that have been installed. All right, the iPhone 12 has now booted into the repair assistant. We'll click on agree, and we'll wait for the iPhone to configure. The iPhone detects the battery as a genuine Apple part, but it does not detect the display as a genuine part and says that it's not functioning as expected. I think I have an idea as to why this is, but we'll see. We'll click continue, and we'll give this iPhone just a moment to configure. And now we can click on restart. Now, when this iPhone restarts, the display is most likely still going to show finish repair. And the reason that it would not let me pair the display, I believe, has something to do with the earpiece speaker that goes on the back of the screen, not being the one original to the display. With the original part from the display, it should be able to detect the display as an original Apple screen, as the earpiece speaker also has the ambient light sensor on it. But without having the original speaker to the phone, the device will refuse to let Face ID work. So it's a bit of a dilemma. I believe that I should be able to pair the display by connecting the original earpiece speaker that's now inside of the parts iPhone 12, and then reconnect the one that's currently in here to re-enable Face ID. It sounds a bit complicated, but in theory, it should work.
A few minutes later.
All right, I have now gotten the old test display from the parts phone with the original earpiece speaker connected to the device, and gone ahead and plugged in the good screen as well. So we should be able to agree, finish repair, and hopefully this display will be detected as a genuine Apple part. And as you can tell, the display is now detected as genuine. We can continue. Now we'll go ahead and restart. And when this iPhone reboots, the display should be detected as a genuine Apple part. With the phone on, we'll navigate to Settings, General, Parts and Service History. The display and battery are both now showing as used genuine Apple parts, and the display is not showing as an unknown part anymore, but Face ID does claim to have an issue. Going into the Face ID setup, it does not say anything about Face ID is not available, which is really surprising. I'll mess around with this for a minute and see if Face ID works, or if I'm gonna need to transfer it back. So it seems that even with the earpiece speaker that is not original to the logic board of the iPhone 12, Face ID does still seem to work after repairing the screen. This is something that was completely different in the past before the parts pairing came into effect. Previously, if the earpiece speaker and proximity sensor flex was replaced by one that does not originally match the logic board of the iPhone, Face ID would be disabled. In our case, it is not, which is definitely kind of exciting, and the Face ID issue is no longer showing up. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this device back together using the earpiece speaker that is on the broken display, and then this iPhone 12 will be 100% functioning with no issues. All right, so about 20 minutes later, this iPhone 12 is now finally completely finished. As you can see, this is a 64 gigabyte carrier unlocked iPhone 12 running iOS 18.7.2. Under parts and service history, both the display and battery show as used OEM Apple parts. The battery health on this iPhone is 100%, and the battery is basically brand new with one charge cycle, which was very surprising to see. And Face ID is functioning perfectly the way that it should. So I guess I overlooked that before I started this repair. I didn't think about the parts pairing and the earpiece speaker, but for future reference, it seems like the earpiece speaker, despite being tied to Face ID, needs to stay original to the screen to be able to be paired through the parts pairing menu. It's basically replaced the data about the original sensor that was in here with the new one that was put on the new screen. Anyways, I know that sounded a bit complicated, but I'm just glad to know that this black iPhone 12 has now been completely repaired. This iPhone 12 is going to be listed up on my eBay soon, and if I had to guess, will likely be sold before this video is out. I don't need another black iPhone 12 for myself, and I would rather have somebody else get to use this iPhone, as it's definitely still got another couple years left in it, especially with this new battery. Revisiting the iPhone 13, this iPhone 13 is also listed on my eBay. It will likely also be sold before this video has been released, but in the case that it hasn't, consider checking out my eBay down below, as even if it has been sold, I've always got some stuff for sale on there. So that makes 2 out of 5 iPhones done. Well, of course, I'm still left with the iPhone 11, 11 Pro Max, and XS Max. Now for the iPhone XS Max, I do have a bit of an update on it. I spent some time taking a look around the device and could not find any clues to getting the iCloud account unlocked or getting the password reset. But since this account only had one device on it and it seemed to be an inactive iCloud account, I went to the Apple I Forgot website and submitted a password request for the iCloud account. I believe I still have another 7 or 8 days to wait before Apple will allow me to reset the password. But once they do allow me to reset it, this iPhone XS Max will become Find My iPhone off, and I'm planning to repair it in a future repair video coming towards the end of this month. So this iPhone XS Max for now will be staying with me. This red iPhone 12, I have tested with an iPhone XR screen and a test battery, and the phone does boot up to a lock screen. Since it is Find My iPhone off, I should be able to restore it and get the phone working like normal. So I'm gonna go ahead and purchase parts for this device so that I can get it repaired. Expect a repair video for this iPhone 11 coming within the next 2 weeks. And as for the iPhone 11 Pro Max, after taking this device apart, it appears to be severely water damaged on the inside, and I'm willing to bet that this device no longer works. It's unfortunate to say, but I don't know if I'm willing to take the risk buying the parts for this just to have it end up not working. For now, I will be keeping this phone and thinking about buying parts. If I come across some cheap parts, I'll definitely grab them. But as of right now, I have no way to test if this phone is functional, so it is a big risk. Lots of parts are severely water damaged, including the Face ID, battery, dot connector. Lots even appears to have physical rust on it. The logic for it doesn't appear as bad as the rest of the phone, but I'm willing to bet once I start taking things apart, it's gonna be pretty gnarly. So I hate to say it, this iPhone 11 Pro Max is most likely dead. So this pretty much concludes the video. Overall, I'm pretty happy with what I managed to score, especially at the $150 price tag. And of course, as expected, there were some hiccups throughout this lot that I wasn't expecting, such as the 11 Pro Max being water damaged and the iPhone 13 having an MDM lock. But of course, there's other things that I wasn't expecting that were good, such as the iPhone XS Max being unlockable. Hopefully I should be able to have this iPhone completely Find My iPhone off and be able to repair it within the next week or so. I'm really glad that I'm able to give 3 of these devices a new life, and possibly the 11 Pro Max if I can make it work. And I'm really glad to see that my $150 didn't just go straight down the toilet. This iPhone lot could have gone a lot worse. All of these phones could have been completely non-functional. The only thing that I knew about them was that most of them were unlocked. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed. I most definitely enjoyed making this video, as these iPhone lots are some of my favorite things to unbox. You really just never know what you're in for. I want to go ahead and say thank you guys so much for almost 17,000 subscribers. By the time this video is out, I probably will have already reached it, but I just wanted to come on here and say thank you. I really appreciate all the support my channel has had recently, and I'm hoping to be able to get a lot more videos out this month than I have recently. If you're new here, please consider subscribing, as of right now, only 13.2% of my viewers are actually subscribed to my channel. Hitting that subscribe button would really help me in reaching my goal of 20,000 subscribers, and it helps to support making more videos like these. Huge shout out to these 4 members. I'll leave a link down in the description to all 4 of their channels. If you did not know, I do have channel memberships. It costs $1.99 a month. It gives you these cool badges next to your name, and it just helps me to continue making videos like these. If you're interested, there's a link down in the description, along with the link to all 4 of these generous members. Again, huge shout out to all 4 of these people. I really appreciate my members. So that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe. And as always, peace out, guys.